Jai Shri Mataji. We once again welcome all the Sahayogis and Yoginis to this seminar on the occasion of Sahastrara Puja. As we all know, the great work in the history of spirituality was done, which is the opening of the Sahasrara. Till now, in the history of spirituality, there was no Sahastrara Puja, as it was so difficult to reach the Sahasrara. And secondly, very little was known about the Sahasrara in such detail. But by Shri Mataji's grace, we now know so much about the Sahasrara. In this session, we shall be covering firstly how it was decided to open the Sahasrara. As Shri Mataji has revealed that it was decided many years before Shri Mataji incarnated on this earth. So we will listen to this great story, and even though we would have heard it many times before, we must recognize the gravity and the significance of this great event. And we should make it sit in our hearts. And to do that, we should hear it again and again. Secondly, we will listen again from Shri Mataji what happened on the 5th of May, how she opened the Sahasrara, and what a great experience it was, and what she felt during the opening of the Sahasrara. Thirdly, we will again need to recognize who Shri Mataji is. The revelation of Shri Mataji as the Adishakti is very significant, as is this feeling of awe in our hearts to understand what a great incarnation had come. And this needs to be developed continuously, as this is the most important thing in the opening of the heart. And only when the heart opens does the Sahasrara open. Next, we will understand how important is the heart and what significant role it plays in the opening of the Sahasrara. The greatest aspect which was awakened by the opening of the Sahasrara was that it was for the first time in the history of spirituality that we got the experience of Param Chaitanya. And this has started giving us experiences in our life, which is the only way to progress in the opening of the Sahasrara more and more. And finally, we will understand the most important and critical point, that is the absolute recognition of Shri Mataji as Adishakti. Accepting her as the Guru and dedicating our life to her and her great cause is the only solution for the opening of the Sahasrara. We would once again like to reiterate that we are simply mere instruments and facilitators of this seminar. The real knowledge is to be understood from Shri Mataji alone. Hence, please listen to the full speeches of whatever excerpts that we play, as this is a seminar, and understand the speeches in its full context. The link to full speeches is given in the videos in the Nirmal Gyan program channel. So come, let us all pray to Shri Mataji to please bless us on this great Sahasrara day, to bless us with the feeling of tremendous bhakti and Shraddha for Adishakti, Sakshat Shri Mataji Nirmala Devi in the core of our heart. Also recognize the greatest and the most important task of opening the Sahasrara Chakra, and thank her again and again for opening the Sahasrara. Shri Mataji, please give us permission to start this session. Come, now let us all collectively take Bandhan. Now, let us all say the 3 Mahamantras collectively. Jai Shri Mataji.
Sakshat Shri Adishakti Mataji Shri Devi Namo Namah. Om Tameva Sakshat Shri Kalki Sakshat Shri Sahasrara Swamini Moksha Pradaini Mataji Shri Devi Namo Namah.
May God bless you. May God bless you all. May God bless you all. May God bless you all.
Jai Shri Mataji. Shri Mataji has revealed in the Sahastrara Puja in 1988 about how it was decided in the heavens by all the gods that now the time has come for the Adishakti to come and do the final breakthrough in the spiritual evolution of this world. We are all aware that we were not made in one day. Slowly through the evolutionary process, how we were developed from one cellular organ of amoeba to now the complete, fully developed form of modern day human beings. For this, slowly at every chakra, the gods came as incarnations to slowly take us and develop the quality of the chakras, and in their lives they worked and ensured through those evolutionary breakthroughs that this actually happened. So from Nabhi onwards, Sri Vishnu came in his 10 incarnations over so many years to create this earth and bring us from the state of fish to the land in the Kurma avatar, up to the complete man who can communicate in the Sri Krishna avatar. Similarly, how the gurus have come to establish dharma and teach us the right things to do and the dharmic laws to follow. The Devi herself has come 1,000 times to protect us, and at the Agya we know when and understood during the Easter Puja the great happening of opening of the Agya by the great Lord Sri Jesus Christ. So we were now ready to receive the greatest trust of God, and in order to do this most difficult job of opening the Sahasrara and giving us the last breakthrough of spiritual ascent, all the gods got together and requested the Adishakti to do that. So Shri Mataji revealed that all the 35 crore, that is 350 million gods, met in the heavens and decided to request and pray to Shri Mataji to agree and take her birth on this earth with her full powers and do this most difficult job. When Shri Adishakti agreed, there was great rejoicing in the heavens and all the gods and goddesses danced in joy. It was a very complicated job and only the Adishakti could do it. Mankind was also completely lost in the darkness of Kali Yuga, in the great clutches of ego, in the ignorance of the religions formed by the great incarnations who had come and fighting within these religions. So it was almost impossible situation, and hence only the great Adishakti could sort this out. So Shri Mataji reveals that this delicate operation had to be done and had to be done before 6th of May on that year, as it was the doomsday. And if the Sahasrara was not opened, then the world would have been destroyed. Also, she explains that in order to do it, Shri Mataji came as Mahamaya to overcome the great complication of the human mind, which had got completely developed in the wrong direction. However, the key to opening of Sahasrara, to overcome this Maya, was to recognize Shri Mataji as the Adishakti. To recognize her is the only way. So come, let us now listen to this most beautiful revelation of the decision made about opening the Sahasrara, explained so beautifully by Shri Mataji in Sahastrara Puja 1988. Jai Shri Mataji.
Today is the 19th Sahastrara day. If you count the first one, the day Sahastrara was opened. I'll have to tell you the story
Jai Shri Mataji.
about the Sahastrara day, about which it was decided. Long time back. Before I incarnated. They had a big meeting in the heavens. All the 35 crores of gods, the deities, were there present to decide what is to be done. This is the ultimate that we have to give to human beings. To open their Sahastrara, to open their awareness to the Spirit, to the real knowledge of the Divine, to remove the darkness of ignorance, and it had to be spontaneously, because it has to work, the living force of God. Also, it had to be very quick. So all the gods requested that now I, the Adishakti, has to take the birth. They all tried their best. They did whatever was possible. The saints were made by them, but very few. They incarnated, and people made religions out of them, which were perverted, brought them bad name. No reality in those religions. These religions were money-oriented or power-oriented. There was no divine force working. Actually, it was all anti-divine. How to now turn human beings away from these superficial religions, these perverted paths of destruction? How to tell them about all these established organizations? For ages they have been ruling, making money, making power. It was a tremendous task, had to be done with great patience and the love. It was a very delicate work also, because they believed in those religions, innocent people, simple people. To blast them that this is all nonsense, there are no religions. They are against the incarnation, against all the prophets, against all the saints. That's why all the real saints had to suffer. It's a powerful work that was to be done. And that's why Adishakti had to take birth on this earth. It had to be before the 6th of May, because 6th of May was the doomsday in that year. So it was done on the 5th of May at the nick of the time. It was all decided beforehand. And every deity's job was allotted to all of them. Very efficient deities, very obedient. They knew me very well, completely dedicated and devoted. They knew me very, very well. Every end of my hair they knew. I didn't have to teach them protocol. Love itself gives you protocol. But love that is divine is not selfish love. It's not the way we love my child, my husband, my country, my clothes. It is the love which is divine, which spreads from your heart, from your spirit, like the light of knowledge. What a tremendous task it was. So, as said, at Sahastrara, I had to be Mahamaya. I had to be Mahamaya. I had to be something that people can't recognize me easily. But deities, no. This Mahamaya had to come on this earth. Not the Adishakti in her purest form is too much. So she was covered with this Mahamaya. Now you see, in 19 years, what we have achieved. So many yogis are sitting before. The difference between a saint and a yogi is that a saint himself is righteous. Himself is holy. But he doesn't know much about the Kundalini. But the yogi knows about the Kundalini. But the difference between a yogi and a Sahaja yogi is that Sahaja yogi has powers. And Sahaja yogini has powers to give realization to others. A yogi can cleanse himself, but he cannot cleanse others. While a Sahaja yogi can cleanse others and cleanse himself. So this is the superior most state which you achieved through your great punyas, I should say. So many of you have been searching the truth in previous lives, and now here you are to achieve what you have been searching. All that has happened now so beautifully. You are not even aware what has happened to you. Automatically, spontaneously you've got the powers within your central nervous system in a split of a second. Your attention has been fixed now. Of course, even now some people don't have. Even now I see the attention wobbles. But so many of you have achieved that state, as he was saying, Shivoham, Shivoham, Shivoham. You have it. What Adi Shankaracharya has described about himself, you can say that about all of you. So many Adi Shankaracharya sitting before.
Joyous Mataji. As we all know that on the 5th of May 1970, Shri Mataji opened the Sahasrara of the whole universe. Now this great task of opening of the Sahasrara was the most important and significant event of the long journey of our spiritual ascent. In the speech given on Sahastrara Puja 1982, Shri Mataji has described what happened on that day. She says the last great work of the divine of opening the Sahasrara in the primordial being Virata was done on this day. This, as we said earlier, is the greatest of the spiritual event which has happened in the history of spirituality, which started about 14,000 years ago in the creation of human beings. It is very difficult for us to perceive the significance of this great event in our limited mind. And hence, we should pray to Shri Mataji every day to make us understand the significance in our heart, because it's difficult to perceive in our brain. And in our everyday life, thank Shri Mataji for the great fortune that we have come to Sahaj Yoga, that she has made us part of this historical event, and that we have found Sahaj Yoga, and that she has opened the Sahasrara, not only of the whole universe but for us also. The Ama's realization, which is given to so many people so effortlessly now, is made possible only because she opened the Sahasrara on the shores of Nargol, which is in the south of Gujarat in India, on the 5th of May 1970. Shri Mataji had been invited by a prominent false guru at that time to see his gathering. And when Shri Mataji saw what he was doing and mesmerizing the people and how confused the innocent seekers were and were being led to the wrong direction, she felt now is the time has come for her to start her great work. So on the 4th of May, the whole night she meditated on the beach next to the government guest house in Nargol, and in the early hours of morning, under a tree, she opened the Sahasrara. This beautiful happening, she has explained it in her speech which she gave in Sahastrara Puja 1988 on the 5th of May in France. So come, let us listen from her the great experience that she went through in the opening of this Sahasrara.
Today, it's a great day for all of us, the seekers, that the last work of the divine, of opening the last center in the great primordial being was done on 5th of May 1970. It is the greatest event of all the spiritual happenings of the universe. It was done with very great care and great adjustments. It is not in the limits of human understanding how things are worked in the heavens. It is your fortune and God's love that has worked out this wondrous event. Without this happening, there could not have been a possibility to give mass realization. One could have done it for 1 or 2 persons here and there, but to give such a mass awakening could not have been possible. As you know, in the Sahasrara, there are the seats of the 7 main chakras. There are 1000 nadis, or as they call it, frames, and they all have each 16,000 stops. Every nadi deals with a particular type of a person, and with the permutations and combinations of all these nadis, human beings are looked after. As soon as Sahastrara was opened, the whole atmosphere was filled with tremendous Chaitanya. And there was tremendous light in the sky. And the whole thing came on this earth as if a torrential rain or a waterfall with such a tremendous force, as if I was unaware, got stupefied. The happening was so unexpected and so tremendous that I was stunned and I became completely silent at its grandeur. I saw the primordial Kundalini rising like a big furnace, and the furnace was very silent but burning appearance it had, as if you heat up some metal and it has many colors. In the same way, the Kundalini showed up like a huge furnace, say of a, you can say, of a furnace which is like a tunnel. When you see these plants you have for coal burning, create electricity, and it stretched like a telescope, one after another came out, like that. And the deities came and sat on their seats, on their golden seats. And then they lifted the whole of the head like a big dome and opened it. And then this torrential rain completely drenched you. And I started seeing all that. I got lost into the joy. It's like an artist seeing its own creation fulfilled. I felt the joy of great fulfillment. After coming out of that beautiful experience, I looked around and I saw human beings so blind. And I became absolutely silent. Then I desired that I should get the cups to fill this nectar. But I saw all stones. Sahasrara is the most beautiful part of yogi. It is a big lotus with 1,000 petals of different colors, appearing like inflated frames. It is a thing which is seen by many people, but to see it pour that torrential rain was like these flames becoming a fountain of colors and of fragrance. When you think of a flower pouring its color and its fragrance around, people have written very little about Sahasrara, because whatever they have seen is from outside, and it's not possible for them to go from inside. Even if you reach from inside, if the whole Sahasrara is not opened out, you cannot see its beauty, because when it is closed, the whole of it, the total, then you just pass through a little aperture and get out. But just imagine a huge big petal, 1,000 petal lotus, and you are sitting inside or in the corona and looking at all these petals, all very beautifully colored and fragrant and pulsating with the bliss and the joy. To remain on that position is the ideal situation. But then, after the silence, you are filled with tremendous excitement and love. And you are drawn out. People who haven't yet known what is having eyes, and thus you try to put your attention to the Sahasrara of millions of people. And then you start seeing the problems that exist in the Sahasrara. And even if you desire open Sahasrara, it is a very difficult thing, because the channelizing from the divine to human beings has to be through human beings. The power could be with you, but it has to be channelized through human element.
Now, after opening the Sahasrara on the 5th of May 1970, Shri Mataji had another tremendous task of how to give this to amas people, means to thousands of people at the same time. So she had to find a method so that all the complicated permutations and combinations of human beings were taken care in one common method of giving amas realization, which would work for everyone. So she devised the 9 steps of self-realization process and also blessed the Sahajogis with the power to raise others' Kundalini. Just like one candle enlightens another one, so the mass realization could work. However, once our Sahasraras are opened, it is not opened completely. The 1,000-petaled lotus, as Shri Mataji explained in the 1982 video, has to be opened more and more and more, and that onus lies with us. So what should we do? What is the most important thing for the opening of the Sahasrara chakra, for the blooming of this lotus flower? So come in the next two sections, we will understand two aspects of the many aspects required to open the Sahasrara. So now let us try and remember our first step of Sahaja Yoga. How does it start? Does it start with a lecture or an understanding the theory? No, it starts with an experience. It starts with a small subtle experience of the feeling of the awakening of the Kundalini. It starts with the feeling of the Chaitanya tingling sensation in the hands. For some, you feel the nirvichara, the thoughtless state, where the mind comes in peace. So there is some experience which pulls us into Sahaja Yoga. So Sahaja Yoga is an experiential journey. Every journey of Sahaja Yoga is an experience. Every day, if you look at the meditation, it's an experience. We feel vibrations, we sometimes feel the chakras, we feel catches, then we feel the clearance. So it is through an experience. Hence, the only way we can develop the opening of the Sahasrara is by experiencing, and there is no other way out. And for Sahasrara, the other aspect is that we have to have faith. And faith comes in not only ourselves, but also in Shri Mataji and the Sahaja Yoga when we start feeling the experiences. So in the lecture of Sahastrara Puja 1991, Shri Mataji explains this wonderful journey beautifully. She says that even if we say that we have 100% faith in Shri Mataji, it's of no use. Because without experience, it's like a blind person recognizing Shri Mataji. She says, however, that when we have experiences of Sahaja Yoga, when we have experiences that we are ourselves a divine personality, that we have been, our Sahasrara is open and that we have become divine, then that faith becomes enlightened faith and the Sahasrara opens more and more. So in this lecture, firstly Shri Mataji explains that first, we have to have faith in ourselves. We have to recognize that we are a divine person, an enlightened soul, a blessed soul. So now, how do we know that we are a divine person, blessed by Adishakti herself? So when we give realization to others, then we see the divine work. Because we raise our hands and then we are able to feel the Kundalini coming on the top of the other head. We can feel the chakras. We don't feel very egoistical about it. We feel, oh wow, this is working. The experience gives us that faith. Also, she stresses another very important point. And this is extremely important for opening of the Sahasrara. And that is that Sahaja Yoga works from the heart, not from the brain. So in modern times, we are so used to having a rational understanding of everything that we need to understand it from the brain. But in Sahaja Yoga, a heart has to open. Because at the Sahasrara, which is at the top of the head, there is something called Brahmarandra, and just below the Brahmarandra is where the heart center is. We call it as a seat of the heart is there, though the physical heart is on the left of our heart. But we call it as a pita, the seat is on the top of the head. So until the heart opens, the Brahmarandra doesn't open, the Sahasrara cannot open. So the first thing for Sahasrara to open is the heart. Shri Mataji gives a beautiful understanding that how the heart should be. It should be soft in the sense that when we look at the relationship between the moon and the ocean or the sea responds to the moon, whereas the stones don't respond to the moon. As the moon comes out, the waves increase. Same way, until and unless our heart opens, it softens. We do not have a feeling towards a photograph of Shri Mataji, and we are not able to feel the responses coming from the photograph. So when we pray, we should be able to feel the energy flow. And for that, the heart has to soften. And she says that is the most important thing. And once that happens, it starts working miraculously. She gives two beautiful examples of one, Dr. Khan and Dr. Worlika. And we will understand from her that it works because in their heart, that connection started getting established. So the key word here is faith with experience. This is the key, that in the heart, the responses have to come, and we cannot understand it through the brain. And hence we have to develop that feeling of gratitude, feeling of love, feeling of the bhakti, the surrender, the dedication. And then we start feeling the joy on the Sahastrara. And it comes through experience. So we have to learn it through everyday meditation. Is the only way where we feel tremendous amount of experiences, and that softens the heart and opens the Sahasrara. And for that we have to have faith in ourselves first. So come, let us listen to this wonderful speech of Sahastrara Puja 1991.
But the response to the spirituality is not yet manifested. It is manifested. It is all built, no doubt, but it is not yet manifested. And how will it manifest? That's what people ask me, Mother, how will it manifest? Through your past, you have learned that you have to be afraid of this, you have to be afraid of that. Also in this lifetime, you have learned many things. For a child may put his hand to the candle, won't be frightened. But a grown-up will, because an experience. With the experience, gradually you built in that reaction of reflex within you so that you try to save yourself. Now, what experience you should have to build that in your heart is the point. And the experience is of your own divinity, of your own spirituality. Once you start developing that experience, then you know that you are a divine person. Unless and until you are aware fully that you are a divine person, howsoever faith you may have in me, the recognition is not complete, because who is recognizing me is a blind person. If a blind person is recognizing me, it won't have that response of the heart. So first you have to recognize yourself to be a divine person, to have faith in yourself. We do not have faith in ourselves, though we are Sahajogis. If there's any problem, they'll write a letter to. If they are sick, they'll write a letter to. If there's any family questioning, they'll write to. If there's somebody is bothering them with some questions, they'll ask. But if you become introspective and meditative, then you touch that divinity within you. When you touch that divinity, you know you are a divine person. So in Sahastrara Puja, actually, you have to recognize your own divinity, that you are divine, by experiencing your divinity. How do you experience your divinity? That you give realization to others. It's a great experience to give realization to others. Not only that, you give realization, but you can tell about their chakras. You know what's wrong with them. You are quite confident. And mentally you know that, yes, it's working. You'll say, without getting involved into it as I do it, you'll say, Mother, it's working, it's happening, it's this thing, that. But you never introspect. How is it I am working? How I am working it out? How I can feel? What has happened to me? What has improved in me? What has sharpened in me? What is the development in me? What is the transformation? Once you start thinking about it, the experience of your own being, then a kind of a feeling towards the Mahamaya develops. Feeling, again I say feeling. Like feeling of fear, feeling of happiness, feeling of depression, any feeling you develop. And this feeling you could call a feeling of gratitude, feeling of love, feeling of oneness, feeling of joy. All this starts working in your heart. And then you feel the responses. If supposing the sea is responding to moon, that means it has that mobility in it to respond. A stone will not react to the moon. In the same way, in your heart, these waves of these feelings are created by the experience of spirituality, by the experience of your own being. And then you start expressing them. And I could make it out. Such a person may not be so much talkative, may not know much about Sahaja Yoga, but in the heart he feels the response. Is something to be achieved, because you know that the center of heart is placed here. The Pitha, the seat of the heart, is on Brahmarandra. If your heart is not open, in the heart, if you do not have those responses built in, they need not be of awe or fear, but a natural protocol that develops. Then you can never do wrong, because you know whatever is good in your heart. Supposing you love somebody from your heart, you are not going to harm that person. In the same way, when you start feeling those responses in your heart, you can never do wrong, because they are now manifesting which were built within you. Because there was spirituality, there was that divinity. which was built in, now it is manifesting. And then you do not worry about things and you do not do anything outwardly. It is said in Upanishads like Shandilya Upanishad, Kantopanishad, it was these, that once you know the Brahma, then all the outside things like wearing a thread of Yagyopavita and all that should be thrown away. It's not necessary. Because now you got the sutra within yourself. Then you should give up all those outward things. Because inside is all built in now, is expressing itself. And such a person automatically becomes a yogi of a very high caliber. There was one gentleman in Calcutta. His name is Mr. Khan, though he is a Hindu gentleman and a great scientist of physics. He was developing those feelings. And one day he was taking his bath in a bathtub and fell down on his back. And it completely broke and some of the splinters went into the brain. And he was in complete coma. So much so that doctors gave up complete hope about him, saying that he can never come back to life. And he was in the intensive care. But just before falling, he called responses, Ma. So, then I was in Delhi, they informed me that he has fallen and this is what has happened. I said, all right. I just paid attention to him, gave a bandhan. Next day he opened his eyes. The doctors could not believe it. And then they removed him to the another ward where surgeons went and said, we'll give you vibration. He said, but I'm not feeling any pain, nothing. He's looking 10 years younger now. It's so different. Now the experience, this is a complete thing for him now. He is absolutely into his divinity. So he says, Mother, I am a person now who doesn't think about anything, about life, death, about my children. Now I know who you are. I know that I am under your protection. I don't have to worry. Another case was a Dr. Varlikar, who had a very bad heart, so they made a bypass for him. Great devotee. And his bypass went out of order perhaps, and he had a very massive heart attack. He again went into coma, they put him in the hospital. His aorta in the beginning was 80% clogged. So only 20% was open, there was no hope, so they did this bypass for him. And he just said, please send word to Mother. That he need not have done all also, but doesn't matter. And I just put bandhan to him. I was in Australia. He again was given up case. And they said, now how can we have another bypass? This pass is finished now. What should we do? They're about to operate him and thinking about it. When he opened his eyes, they told doctor, I'm feeling all right. I don't know what has happened. I'm feeling perfectly all right. Can I sit up? So the doctor couldn't understand. He felt his heart. He said his heart is doing very well. What has happened? So they put him on the test and they found out that his old aorta was opened out completely, which never happens in the history of medicine. Now this experience that he had about is also because of his divinity that I could work on him. The connection was so good. Only two. But if you mentally go on analyzing everything and mentally understanding Sahaja Yoga, you cannot reach that state of divinity from where you receive all the blessings, starts pouring on you in every way. If you hear the way these people were helped, as far as the money was concerned, as far as the buildings were concerned, the transport was concerned, everything, as if somebody is working it out. Even if you are mentally Sahajogis, all these things work out. But you are definitely helped when your divinity is manifesting in a very, very big way. Such a big way that it is not possible otherwise. These are not miracles. For human beings these might be miracles, but for God it is not. After all, the world He has created, the whole universes He has created, universes of universes He has created. So what is so great for Him? But this is the faith with experience, not a blind faith. Faith with experience and through introspection. Why do I do this? Why should I do like this? Why should you do like that? Is introspection should start. When you are introspecting, then this depth moves further, but more through meditation. That's why I always tell you that please get up in the morning, do your meditation, and get up in the evening and do your meditation. At least before going to bed, you should get to it.
Jai Shri Mataji. How to progress fast in the opening of Sahasrara. Now we are going to listen to a very important speech of Shri Mataji, which she gave in 1982, the dedication through meditation. In this, we need to ask ourselves a question as to why we are not progressing as fast as we should in the opening of Sahasrara or in Sahaja Yoga. She says, the only way is to dedicate ourselves to Shri Mataji and not to Sahaja Yoga. We have to leave everything and surrender and dedicate ourselves to Shri Mataji. We know who she is. She is Sakshat Shri Adishakti, absolutely divine. That recognition is not there in our heart as much as it should be. The only reason, she says, that even after giving realization, we get caught up, we go down because the dedication is not there completely. We have developed complete reverence and dedication to her, which is what we had for Shri Krishna, Shri Rama, Shri Christ and Shri Muhammad. Do we have that kind of a reverence or that realization for Shri Mataji? When we know that Shri Mataji has given us our self-realization, no other incarnation earlier has done this divine work. Further, she asks, why is dedication so important? Because when we get into the maya of our life, we go down with lot of problems. We feel we are sinking deeper and deeper into the mire. Then we have to cling on to this one thing, which is dedication to Shri Mataji. Hold on to her hand. And even though she is Mahamaya, she is elusive, she is the only one who can pull us out. So we have to cling on to her lotus feet, and that's the most important thing. So how should we develop this dedication? We have to change our priorities of our life. Sahaja Yoga should become very, very important and the central point of our life. Shri Mataji says, we do Sahaja Yoga by the way. If it works for us, if we have time, we meditate. If it suits us, we go to collective, we do puja. We don't get time to do Sahaj work of spreading or talking about Sahaja Yoga to others. She says this is not dedication. So, we have to develop And the only way to develop is with bhakti and shraddha in our heart. Dedication to Shri Mataji is the only way to get a response from her in the form of vibrations or in the form of blessings. She says she is only fond of her devotees and nothing else. We are worried about our small problems, our job, our house, college admission, marriage, money, health issues, and many more. Shri Mataji says we have to leave all this and dedicate to her. What is more important than the opening of the Sahasrara? And this is possible only through dedication and surrender to her divine lotus feet. Finally, she says the only way is meditation. Meditation, and that too with complete surrender. But with our own complete freedom, we need to surrender in meditation. There is no other way by which we can develop the bhakti, the devotion. The shraddha and the dedication is what is required in meditation. The only way to open our Sahasrara is having full faith in Shri Mataji. Surrendering to her, and for that in our meditation we need to pray. Param Puja Shri Mataji, please bless us with the qualities of bhakti and shraddha in our heart. This great blessing and experience is what you can give us. We are waiting, and this wait is the complete surrender, and we all will observe and experience the response in the form of blessings in our Sahasrara.
Today, for the first time, I'm venturing to say something which I should have said much earlier. As today I told you that it is necessary that you have to recognize me. And that recognition is fixed. That condition is fixed. I cannot change it. As Christ has already said, that anything against me, anything against me will be tolerated, will be forgiven, but anything against the Holy Ghost will not be. It's a very big warning, very big warning. Perhaps people don't realize what it means. Of course, none of you are against me, that I know. And you don't do anything against me. That's very true. After all, you are my children. I love you very much, and you love me. That's only the warning that Christ has given you. But one must think why we are not progressing so fast as we should have. When people are mesmerized, they fall completely flat on the ground in front of their gurus. Absolutely. They give up their money, they give up everything, homes, houses, families, children, and just go flat when they are mesmerized. Without asking any questions, without going into any detail, without trying to find out the life of their guru. All such people also go very fast. into darkness, into greater darkness, and into complete destruction. But you are Sahajogis and you have to construct yourself. I didn't want to shatter your egos before, never to tell you in these words. Perhaps this is the first time I am saying this to you. That you have to dedicate yourself completely to me, not to Sahaj, but to me. Sahaj Yoga is just one of my aspects. Leaving everything, you have to dedicate. Complete dedication. Otherwise, you cannot ascend any further. Without questioning, without arguing, complete dedication is the only way you can achieve it. People still get caught up, still get into problems. What's the reason? So many people ask me that once we have got realization, how is it, mother, we go down. The only reason is that dedication is not complete. This complete reverence and complete dedication has been not established. You still do not know that I am divine to that extent as you should. I don't say all of you, but still, if you look into your heart and look into your mind, you will find out that complete devotion that you had for, say, Christ, or for Krishna, or for any one of those who have been, is not there. Krishna said, Sarva dharmanam parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Forget all the religions of the world. Religions didn't mean the religions like Hindu, Christian, Muslim, but he was meaning all these sustenances. Forget all the sustenances and completely dedicate to me. That was 6,000 years back. There are many who would still say that we have completely dedicated ourselves to Sri Krishna. Where is he now? Even those whom I have given realization, they say like this. Of course, there's no difference between him and me. But today, I am the one. I am the one who has given you realization. But our first consideration could be our jobs, our own problems, our family problems, our financial problems. And dedication is the last. I'm elusive is true. My name is Mahamaya. I'm elusive, no doubt. But I'm elusive just to judge you. Now the dedication is a very important part of the ascent. Why? Because when you are precariously placed, when there is immediate danger to your existence, at this time when the whole world is standing at a precarious position where it is going to be destroyed completely, it's very important that you cling on to things that is going to save you with complete might and complete faith. Like you are getting drenched in ordinary water, doesn't matter. But if you are sinking in the sea, and there's a question of this moment of existence and that moment of destruction. That time, if a hand comes forward to fetch you out, there's no time for you to think anymore, but cling on to it. With all your might, with all your faith. When we have badhas, when we are surrounded by negativity, we get aware of it. A little bit, we get confused. That's the time we want to cling on. But the badhas give you ideas which are detrimental. So big struggle is setting. At that time, what is the best way? The best way is to forget everything else. Forget that you are possessed or this badha or anything. With all your might, whatever is there, you have to hold on to it. But our style of dedication is very fashionable and modern, in which Sahaj Yoga is by the way and Mother is very much by the way. I'm sorry it's not going to work out. I don't have to tell this to Indians. Because if you read Devi Mahatmya, it's sufficient. Even if you read her 1,000 names, it's sufficient. That she can be only achieved through bhakti. She can only be achieved through dedication. She is only fond of her bhaktas, the devotees. It's nowhere written that she is fond of people who can talk better, who can argue better, who dress better, who live better, who have better surroundings, but her devotees. And this devotion and dedication should not be a frenzy or anything, but should be sustained, continuous, ever flowing, ever growing. That's the only way now for further development. For us, so many small problems are important. Somebody has a house, somebody has a admission in the college, somebody has some job to be done. All these considerations are the dharmas which Sri Krishna has described as Sarva Dharmanam Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam. Give up all the dharmas, all these so-called dharmas, like a Patni Dharma is the duty of a wife, then the Pati Dharma is duty of a husband, then the Putra Dharma is the duty of a son, the Pita Dharma duty of a father, and duty of a citizen, and a duty of a world citizen. All these dharmas are to be given up entirely. And you have to surrender fully from your heart. I am what I am, I've been that, I'll be that. I'm not going to grow any more or less. This is an eternal personality. It is now for you to get out of me whatever is possible. To make the best use of your birth in these modern times. To grow to your full maturity. To be able to work out the complete design that Divine wants to do through you. As soon as the dedication starts, you become dynamic. Clinging on to that. For this, meditation is the only way, I should say. Of course, rationally you can do many things. You can rationally accept me. Emotionally, you may feel closer to me in your heart. But through meditation, surrender. Meditation is nothing but surrendering. It's complete surrendering, which is a difficult task for a modern man in the Western countries. He only surrenders to people who mesmerize, who fully mesmerize them. They become slaves of people who mesmerize. But in their own freedom, their ego is more powerful than their spirit. In their own freedom. That's why all the free countries have gone to dogs. Because ego plays part, not the spirit. They cannot master their ego when they are free. Only if somebody can just entangle their ego and mesmerize them, then they are all right, they are shut completely, they surrender. And it's so obvious from the way these false people have mastered their art of making slaves out of you. In your full freedom, complete freedom, you have to surrender. Freedom does not mean ego. One should understand. Freedom is killed by ego. Not only killed, but is disfigured and disgraced. It's made ugly. Freedom in its subtlest form means complete egolessness. No angularities. Complete hollowness, just like the flute. So that the melody of God could be played well. That's complete freedom. No hands up.
So now, with complete dedication, let's all sit for meditation. Today we have learned the importance of heart. So let's put our right hand on our heart and let's pray to Shri Mataji. Firstly, Param Puja Shri Mataji, we surrender all our problems at your lotus feet. Let this ego, which is adding to the negative thoughts, which is analyzing all the problems, be destroyed, and by your power be removed from our being. Shri Mataji, I have full faith on you, complete recognition that you are Sakshat Shri Adishakti. You are the one who has given us a realization and opened the Sahastrara. And it is only you who can give us the blessing of Shraddha and Bhakti in our heart. O Divine Mother, we are waiting for these blessings to shower upon us. Let's now put our right hand on our Sahasrara and rotate it 7 times and pray again from the bottom of our heart. First of all, to thank. We thank you for opening the Sahasrara of all of us. O Mother, we thank you for coming on this earth taking your incarnation as Sri Adishakti, as Shri Mataji, and opening the Sahasrara of the whole world. We request you to come in our Sahasrara and bless all of us with your divine experience, the experience of joy, the experience of being connected at your divine lotus feet. Let's bring both our hands on our lap and enjoy the blessings which are flowing by the divine grace of Shri Mataji. Let's surrender our efforts and try to sustain in this state for the next 5 minutes. Now, from the bottom of our heart, let's again thank Shri Mataji for this beautiful experience of the silence, for helping us cross the Sahastrara and opening the kingdom of God within all of us. With the complete dedication towards Shri Mataji, now we will take the 3 Maha Mantras and seek her blessings.
Shri Adishakti Mataji, Shri Mataji, Namo Namah. Om Tameva Sakshat, Shri Kalki Sakshat, Shri Adishakti Mataji, Shri Mataji, Namo Namah. Om Tameva Sakshat, Shri Kalki Sakshat, Shri Sahasrara Swamini Moksha Pradaini Mataji, Shri Mataji, Namo Namah. Shri Mataji, Namo Namah. Shri Mataji, Namo Namah. Shri Mataji, Namo Namah.
May God bless you. May God bless you all. May God bless you all. May God bless you all.
Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Now let's raise our Kundalini and take Bandhan. Jai Shri Mataji. Let's now summarize what we have covered in the session today. Firstly, we learned how it was decided in the heavens by all the gods and goddesses who requested Sakshat Shri Mataji, who is Adishakti, to come on this earth and open the Sahasrara. This is a moment of great joy of the opening of the Sahasrara and Mother coming on this earth. Secondly, we also understood the great work which was happened on 5th May 1970 and how Shri Mataji opened the Sahasrara. Next, we understood two things. One, for opening of the Sahasrara, the only way is through the heart and not the mind. So unless we open our heart, have faith in ourselves, and through the divine experience, develop the faith on Shri Mataji, only and only then the Sahasrara can be opened. Finally, the only way is dedication and devotion to her divine lotus feet. Surrendering everything to her and dedicating our life to Shri Mataji is the only way to progress ahead in our spiritual ascent. We need to change our priorities, leave all the problems aside and hold on, cling on to the hands of Shri Mataji, who is going to take us away from the mire and open the Sahasrara more and more. So once again, let's thank Shri Mataji for a wonderful explanation and an experience through this session on the auspicious occasion of Sahastrara Puja. Let's pray to Shri Mataji to bless us with bhakti and shraddha in our heart so that we understand and assimilate every word from the speeches of Shri Mataji. We not only imbibe them in our subtle system, but imbibe them in our life as Sahaj Yogis. Finally, we pray to Shri Mataji on this auspicious day of Sahastrara Puja to bless us so that we are able to recognize the great work done by her. Param Puja Shri Mataji, we recognize you in our heart. We thank you for doing this most difficult and delicate work of opening the Sahasrara. We thank you again and again for putting us into the kingdom of God. Mother, please help us sustain our Sahasrara. Please help us develop our ascent so that we are humble children of yours growing in our spiritual ascent. Once again, Koti Koti Pranam, Ananta Koti Pranam at your divine lotus feet. Jai Shri Mataji.